Good morning, everybody. I'm Larry Jacobs. This is Pre-K-12 Education Talk Radio. Thanks so much for being with us on this November 10th, 2022. And I'm also glad our guest is here today. Our guest is my good friend, Fred Bramante, the father of competency-based learning, as far as I'm concerned, and rules the roost in New Hampshire, and is an incredible expert in the field. President of the National Center for Competency-Based Learning. Fred is past chairman and longest-serving member of the New Hampshire State Board of Education. I believe he started in 1843. Okay, I raised my kids in New Hampshire. That's why I know Fred so well. He's a former candidate for governor, which he lost, by the way, okay, in 2019, but I love him for running, okay? And he's one of the top innovators in New Hampshire, and everybody knows that. And he's actually been on the cover of Inc. magazine. He has been, so help me, because he ran a great business before he got all involved in education, which was called Daddy's Junkie Music. And Daddy's was where I put my kid all his drum stuff. My kid's a professional drummer. So it's really great to have Fred here. I'm gonna enjoy this conversation with him. There's so much to talk about competency-based learning, which is what we are going to talk about. We're going to archive the show over at ace-ed.org, which is our home website. We have teacherretention.com linked over there, SEL Today, all the podcasts, and also we just put the new issue of Equity and Access, our magazine, up on site. Okay, so we literally did that an hour ago. So it's there right now. Today's November 10th, and I hope you go over there and see what we're doing. ace-ed.org, ace-ed.org. I'm Larry Jacobs. This is Fred Bramante. Good morning, Fred.
Good morning, Larry. I think it was 1844, though. When I first started on the State Board of Education.
I know. It's been a long time. But I got to hand it to you, my friend. I mean, you really, you put your money where your mouth is. If I could use an old cliche, you really get involved and get the job done. And you're not one to just talk about it. You're one to really get involved and do it. And you work with a good friend of mine. I just want to mention this over at IZIT, a company that my listeners know well, IZZIT, IZIT.org, is my friend Dean Graziano, and you guys know each other very well, okay, and all the things that you do. All right, Fred, I want you to define, but by the way, Daddy Junk, you brought back a smile on my face when I was thinking about Daddy's Junkie Music. My kid's almost 40 now, okay, but I couldn't help but thinking about those days of schlepping him to Daddy's Junkie Music in Portsmouth to buy him all his drum stuff time and time again. You brought back a fun memory, Fred.
Well, I have many fond memories of Daddy's. Daddy's was pretty great. And
that was.
I was fortunate enough to start that company with my life savings of $600 back in 1972. Wow. And we grew it from the smallest of over 11,000 music retailers in the United States to number 15 in the country. So it was an amazing ride.
Yep.
And many fond memories. So lucky me.
But let me just say, you were a handsome steed in those days as for that long ride on the journey. Okay, you did fabulous with that. And you do the same for education. I mean, you really get involved and get it done. And, I want you to define for everybody competency-based learning. And, I look at it not only as a way of learning, but also as a way of assessing kids. All right? And to me, that's really important for people to understand that. And it's also important, obviously, for career training. I mean, just talk about it, okay? You do it, okay? Define it. Oh, I meant to answer. Hold on. Fred is president of the National Center for Competency-Based Learning. That's nccbl.org. nccbl.org if you want to learn more. Go ahead, Fred. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, not a problem at all, Larry. When I actually really didn't know anything about it, until I got named chair of the State Board of Education by Governor Benson, and he charged me with redesigning public education, a charge that most people would have run screaming away from, but it was exactly the charge I was looking for,
exactly.
But we just kind of stumbled on it, and the simplest way I can describe it is the old system, the constants in the old system that everybody knows is a time and place, that it's 180 days, that the learning happens in classrooms, and you move on by age. Every year you move to the next grade level. And the variable is learning, and some kids get A's, B's, C's, and D's. And so in a competency-based model, we just kind of switch it, and the variable is time and place. That ultimately it doesn't matter where the learning actually happens, and the constant is the learning. Is that when you demonstrate that you have mastered the requirements, then you move to the next level. And it's really not a whole lot different than like karate lessons or music lessons. That you become proficient in whatever you're doing so that you have the skills to move to the next level. And so it's a system that's basis is learning. So,
but and I agree with, and believe me, I agree with all that. Okay.
Yep.
But my question is, and you worked in the New Hampshire State Board. Okay. How do you train educators to understand that and assess kids and, if I may, teach kids, or at least facilitate their learning? Because I have to say, when teachers come out of college, I don't think, maybe you can help me, they're not trained to do that. We have pretty good schools in New Hampshire and up here in New England and all over the country, but they're not trained to teach in this kind of situation. So how do they get trained, and whose responsibility is it for a given school district to really understand this?
Well, I feel like we've done a marginal job there as a state, and there are some.
Yeah, we're talking all over the country. That's why I want to keep saying that. Yeah, Fred's the king of New Hampshire, which is a leader.
And and I'm proud of the leadership role that New Hampshire has taken, but I do believe that our teacher training institutions have done a marginal job there, and there's some of them that are more active in competency-based learning than others. Southern New Hampshire University being one of them. I was just going to say, good old SNHU. Yeah, a lot of why Southern New Hampshire University is where it is, in a world that in a college environment that is around the country flailing in so many ways. Southern New Hampshire University is one of the bright spots that's succeeding.
I would agree.
Yeah, and but it focuses a lot on competency-based learning. So it identifies itself through competency-based learning. So and if we're training teachers to manage classrooms, and that's 90% of what their training is, then we're training them for an outdated system. And the country is starting to get it. What we did when we put in our state regulations that we were officially going to move to a competency-based model, we started a national movement. Competency-based learning is now a conversation in virtually every state in the United States. That most of them look at New Hampshire as a leader in the process, and fortunately for me, I have been called upon once again to lead the effort to redo the state regulations, and I've got a great team.
Are you doing that now? You're doing that now?
Yes, I am. Yep.
Wow.
And the state minimum standards for public school approval, and I've got a great team of competency-based experts, and we are maybe within a month of going public with our draft. So we're close. We've been working at this for approaching 2 years. We are close to having a draft, and I'm very excited about what's in this draft.
Let me ask, Fred, what happens when you go public? What literally? I mean, you say everybody what's there, but what literally happens?
Well, we are going to take the first thing we'll do is we're going to send the draft to the teachers unions, the school administrators, school principals, and school boards associations for them to look at and then send us back their feedback. What things we'll actually meet with them. We'll have Zoom meetings with them, with their team, and they'll talk to us about any concerns that they might have, thoughts that they might have, and we're hoping that they will come up with some ideas that'll make the document even better. But we have to accept the possibility that that not everybody is going to be thrilled with the kinds of things that we're suggesting. I love this saying, Larry, that on the road to change, tradition will place 1,000 soldiers at every intersection to protect the past. So I don't, I've been through this, on multiple occasions, 1992, 2005. So I know that some people are going to jump for joy, and others are going to be upset because we're proposing things that will cause changes in how they perform their task.
Why would they be upset? You bring that up. Why would they be upset? And besides human nature, okay, which of course we know is going to happen. Okay, why will they be upset? What is in there that would upset them? We are putting more emphasis than ever on learning outside of the classroom. We are saying that we really don't care where the learning happens, and we're putting more emphasis than ever on the students having a strong voice in determining how they want their education. So if you can envision a student saying, well, I want Mrs. Jones for English, but I want to use my karate lessons for my physical education. I want to play in a rock band for my music. I want to do world history online. I want to do space science in the planetarium, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, if you are one who says, well, wait a minute, those kids would have been in my classroom. Why aren't they choosing my classroom? And if you are of the mind that you don't want these kids to have choices, then that you want their option to be you, and so that you'll have a classroom full of students and you'll do things the way you have done for the last X amount of years, then you can get upset about this. But I actually believe this becomes a better job for teachers. That it's not all about them, being in guiding the classroom. I was a science teacher. I taught 8th grade science. Oh, I didn't know that.
And,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and in Stamford, Connecticut. And
I'll be damned.
I live on Seacoast, New Hampshire, as you know. And so if I was still teaching, and this was and this was my world. Now all of a sudden it's a competency based world. Instead of teaching 5 days a week all day long in my classroom, that the possibility might be there that I only teach 2 days a week, and the rest of the time I'm at Lonza Biologics and Fisher Scientific and the Audubon Society and the Air Traffic Control Tower and the Seacoast Science Center, looking for opportunities for hands-on engagement with kids. And to me, that's a better job. That's matching, finding out what there is for science-based assets in the area, and getting to know the folks that are the professionals in the science community, and finding out what they might be able to bring to the process of getting kids excited about learning science.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. All right. Well,
no,
well,
I was just going to say that to me.
You go.
Yeah, that to me is like that to me is getting kids turned on to science. That ought to be my job. And putting kids in a position to get science their way, get them excited about being involved in scientific investigation for life, then I will have done my job. If regardless of the fact that I did not necessarily have them in a traditional classroom environment. Some people could.
I'm going to ask. I got to ask. And by the way, I don't think there's many teachers who would argue that that's bad what you just said. But I have to be the devil's advocate for a second.
Sure.
A kid wants to be a scientist. Well, I'll do it for the next 5 minutes or so. A kid wants to be a scientist, but they need basic understanding of science. I was terrible at it, but they need, the periodic table, better understanding of math, whatever the heck it needs. Okay, chemistry, the whole story. Okay. I wanted to be an astronomer when I was a kid, okay, but I'm not really very good at math. So if I went and worked at the observatory, okay, I'm not getting, how do I measure up to state standards? And I'm asking that as a devil's advocate question, Fred. Okay.
Sure.
How do you measure these kids? How do you, teach, how do the kids master what they need to know in order to pursue that career under your system? And by the way, I don't think your idea is bad at all. Okay, I just want to hear the inside.
Sure. So going to let's say going to the planetarium is that the teacher would have a conversation with whoever is the planetarium supervisor there. That look at, here are the competencies that we need kids to get before they're going to get credit. They just can't come in here, look through the telescope all day long, and that's it. There are competencies that they have to come away with, and that planetarium person might say, well, I can do. Let's say that there's a half a dozen of these competencies, and they say, I can do all but number 3. I can't do number 3 in this environment. That you're going to have to find another way to get number 3 taken care of. Well, then that's the teacher's job to figure out how that's going to happen. Whether that's through a tutor, whether that's putting the kid in a classroom for some of the time, a blended kind of approach, whether that's whether it's online learning, So regardless of the expectations for astronomy need to be the same regardless of what environment a kid is going to be in, and so that doesn't change. And so they'll just have to come to an agreement on how it's going to happen.
Okay, and then it makes some sense, but we got to be able to teach these kids the basics so they can follow through on this. And my other question is the logistic question. Okay. Yeah. My logistics question is, how does the kid, in this case, little Larry here, get to the planetarium and back during the day? How do I get there? That's a logistics question. Yeah.
Yeah, that the school has to answer. Yeah. And there'll be 1,000 answers, all around the country. So they'll do it differently. However, it might be a school bus. If the kid drives, it might be the kid driving to it. That could get answered in a number of ways.
And you just asked the question. You just brought a question to mind. If you're thinking the kid can drive, what age do you want these kids to be? I'm thinking, are they junior high? Are they high school? Are they? Obviously, the elementary kids don't drive, neither do the junior high kids. What are your thoughts on grade level?
Our view is competency-based learning. That's the system, and one of the things that we are recommending in this rule change is that we move away from grade level. We move away from first grade, second grade, third grade, and we move to level 1, level 2, level 3, so that a kid might be level 1 in reading, and level 3 in math, so the students will advance based upon their skill level. We did a pilot in New Hampshire on this called NG2. No grades, no A's, B's,
wow.
D's,
NG,
no first
yep.
grade, second grade, third grade. Yep. So if anybody wanted to actually look it up, they could Google, actually go on YouTube and look for WMUR Varney School, Manchester, New Hampshire, and they can look up a piece that was on the news about this NG2 project, and you'll see a school, an elementary school full of happy kids, happy parents, happy educators. Yeah. So
by the way, I want to say something on that, and we're going to end in about 6 minutes here because Fred has to be somewhere else. Okay, but I want to say something. Keeping kids happy these days is incredibly important. Everybody's talking about, no matter what you want to call this, social emotional learning. It's rough out there right now, and keeping kids and teachers happy. Okay, and I got to say, Fred, this post-pandemic era that we're in is a great time for a paradigm change. Everybody's looking for something different, and I think, and when you said 1 million people are going to be against it, I disagree. I think there's going to be 1 million questions, but I don't think they're going to be against it. I think they're going to want this to really happen. And on that note, I want to talk some more. You have something that you're doing. I think it's just in New Hampshire, and you're calling it education-driven economic development, which I think is a pretty good idea. Okay.
Yeah.
We want to train the kids to really be part of the economy in the future. Want to talk about that?
Yeah, sure.
And by the way, you can stay on longer if you want, but I know you got a meeting in 7 minutes here, so you do what you want. And if we need to, we'll just schedule another show.
No, Larry, I'll come on anytime with you.
You're always welcome.
And I always love it. So anyway, we call it ED squared, education-driven economic development. We've been ED squared.
Yep.
We've got an endorsement on this from the governor, and so we've been working with
Governor Sununu.
Yep, we've been working with who just got elected in the landslide.
Reelected.
Yep, reelected, and
yesterday.
And we've been working with the New Hampshire School Administrators Association,
Good.
and we have on the new vision for high school, and our vision for high school says that by 2025, virtually every New Hampshire high school student will earn or be on a personalized path to earning a post-secondary or career-related credential. So we are talking about kids getting career-related credentials, even associate's degrees, while they're in high school.
I love it.
And that's the direction that we need to be moving with. When you tell me you've got a high school diploma, I have no idea what you know. If you told me
in my
got
case, I knew nothing.
Biology,
in my case, I knew nothing, but you go ahead. Yeah.
In mine as well. And if you told me you got a B in biology, I still have no idea what you know. But if you tell me that you have an associate's degree in something, I kind of have an idea of what you know. If you tell me that you have a massage therapist license, I kind of have an idea of what you know. And so we are looking to put kids in a position where they can choose their career path and get some kind of and get credentials in that path while they're in high school, so that when they leave the high school, they can choose to go to college and already be down the road a bit on their path to a degree, or choose to go out into the world of work and already have some form of credentialing that demonstrates that they have skills. So so that's another something that we're working on. And
and you're always working on something, man. I think it's really good. We don't have time, but next time we're going to do it, Fred. I know you're working on something called the National. Well, unless you want to stay on for 2 more minutes, the National Presidential Youth Congress. Up to you.
I'll stay on for a couple of minutes, and I see my pal Dean, and
wait
so
below
I'll
from Larry, my buddy.
I'll just tell him I'll be with him in a couple of seconds. But yeah, we are working on an event to capitalize on the New Hampshire primary in 2024, and New Hampshire primary is one of the top political events in the world.
Sure is.
And we have the world's media that shows up at our doorstep, and we don't take advantage of it. So what we want to do is create a nearly year-long effort around civics and getting kids.
I love it.
And getting kids in hands-on opportunities, like working on campaign teams, working with media outlets, working on causes, just solutions, journalism, anything that we can find civics related, and then full credit toward graduation, again, competency based, and leading up to this large scale event at the new Southern New Hampshire University Arena in downtown Manchester, and filling the place with kids a week before the primary.
Wow!
And having all the candidates come in and make their pitch to this audience on why they deserve to be the next president of the United States. And I think it's going to be amazingly exciting. And so I think it'll be great.
I just got to say, when you live in New Hampshire and New Hampshire primary is going on, if you want to, it's very easy to do because the state is small.
Oh, yeah.
You can literally meet every presidential candidate. I don't just say and look at them. You can actually walk up and say hi, and they'll say hi back. And I don't care, Republican, Democrat, whatever. They enjoy it, and New Hampshireites enjoy it as well. It's a really great thing, and to capitalize on that, Fred, is a great idea. It really is. And by the way, as we end here, I'm thinking Chris Sununu might wind up as a VP candidate. I'm thinking of that. Okay.
Chris Sununu has a lot of potential.
He sure does.
I think he is. He is my kind of Republican. He's not a crazy guy.
I
very smart,
couldn't agree with you more. Okay, and I'm a Democrat, and I couldn't agree with you more. Okay, I'm telling you, he's a good man. That's the beauty of New Hampshire. I got to tell you that. That's the beauty of New Hampshire. Even though I live in Maine, my kids were raised in New Hampshire, and that's the beauty of it. All right, Fred, this is great. Tell my buddy Dean I said hi. Okay.
Yep, I will. Right,
I'm going to let you go because I know you got a meeting coming up.
Yep.
Okay?
I look forward
buddy.
to the next time, Larry. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, it'll be soon.
Thanks,
I promise. Okay?
Yep.
Thanks, Fred.
Great.
Bye.
Okay. Thanks. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Bye. Fred Bramante, everybody, and it's at the National Center for Competency Based Learning, nccbl.org, if you want to learn more. And I do think he's right. Okay, there's going to be a lot of questions, and nothing comes out of the box and comes out the same way 6 months later. But this is the time for think about a new paradigm, okay, and how we teach kids. Will it work? We hope so. But we're always giving things a try, and I think it's a good thing to do. And I'd like to say New Hampshire's leading the charge. Over here in Maine, 20 minutes from New Hampshire here. Okay, we'll see what happens. All right? We're going to archive the show over at ace-ed.org. I'm Larry Jacobs. This is Pre-K-12 Education Talk Radio. Thanks for listening.